This brings me to the third bilateral issue, the price of raw water imported by Singapore from Malaysia under the 1962 Water Agreement, a fundamental agreement. Let me reiterate Singapore's clear and consistent position. We've stated this publicly many times before, including in this very chamber, and our position is well known to everyone, including to Malaysia. The 1962 Water Agreement is not an ordinary agreement. The 1962 Water Agreement was guaranteed by both Malaysia and Singapore. This guarantee is in the 1965 Separation Agreement, which in turn was registered with the United Nations. Any breach of the 1962 Water Agreement would call into question the Separation Agreement. And members will remember that the Separation Agreement is a basis for Singapore's very existence as an independent sovereign state. Singapore will fully honor the terms of the 1962 Water Agreement, including the price of water that's stipulated in that agreement, and we expect Malaysia to do so. Members will recall that then Foreign Minister Professor S. Jayakumar and then Foreign Minister K. Shanmugam had stated our position on this issue comprehensively on the 25th of January 2003 and on the 6th of March 2014, respectively. Their key points remain as valid today as when they were first articulated. As was stated then, the core issue is not how much we pay, but how any price revision is decided upon. Worth reiterating this point. The core issue is not how much we pay, but how any price revision is decided upon. Neither Malaysia nor Singapore can unilaterally change the terms of agreement between our two countries. Malaysia lost its right to review the price of water under the 1962 Water Agreement in 1987. Again, this is not a new point. We have made this point publicly on multiple occasions. In fact, Malaysia has previously acknowledged that they themselves chose not to ask for a review in 1987 because they benefited from the pricing arrangement under the 1962 Water Agreement. Johor currently buys treated water from Singapore at 50 Malaysian sen per 1,000 gallons. This price, and in fact even the volume, is provided for under the 1962 Water Agreement. Members of this House will know that 50 Malaysian sen per 1,000 ringgit is a fraction of the true cost of treating that water. Hence, in 2002, then Prime Minister Dr. Mahathir, in his first incarnation, said that Malaysia did not ask for a review when it was due, as Malaysia knew that any revision would also affect the price of treated water sold by Singapore to Malaysia. The then Johor State Assembly Speaker, Zainal Abidin Mohamed Zain, also said, and let me quote what he said. He said, there was no point in pressing for a review of the water price in 1986 because Johor was dependent on Singapore for its treated water supply. And Singapore would have also increased its price of treated water sold to Johor, unquote. The reason why I'm taking pains to recite all this to you is to make the point that Malaysia took a conscious decision not to review the price when they had the opportunity to do so. And this is why, in fact, even to this day, Johor buys more treated water than it is entitled to strictly under the 1962 Water Agreement. These additional supplies of treated water that we have been selling to Johor at Johor's request and sold at the same rate stipulated by the 1962 Water Agreement. This sale is made on a goodwill basis and without prejudice to our rights under the 1962 Water Agreement. In addition, if in 1987 Malaysia had exercised the right to review the price of water, Singapore would have made quite different investment decisions on developing the Johor River and its water catchment areas. One example of this is the Lingyu Reservoir. In 1990, the PUB and Johor signed an agreement to construct the Lingyu Dam to increase the yield of the Johor River in order to enable reliable abstraction of PUB's full entitlement of 250 million gallons per day. Johor owns the Lingyu Dam, but Singapore paid for its construction and continues to pay for its operation. These sums incurred are on top of the Malaysian ringgit 320 million that we paid to Johor in 1990 as compensation for the land that's used by the Lingyu Reservoir project and for the potential loss of revenue from logging activities, and as a one-time payment for the lease of that land for the remaining tenure of the 1962 Water Agreement. Mr. Speaker, sir, Singapore and Malaysia will always be closely intertwined and interdependent. We are committed to engaging and cooperating with the new Malaysian government. But we must work with each other on the basis that both sides will fully respect the sanctity of international agreements and that any disputes will be resolved peacefully in accordance with international law. Provided this condition is met, I'm confident that our bilateral relations will prosper for the mutual benefit of the citizens of both countries. Thank you.